let's go to your mock draft. Daniel Jeremiah, you held your final mock draft in television show format last night on NFL Network with Colleen Wolfe hosting and CD Charles Davis next to you. Before we jump into it, though, we have a drop.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to mock you like a hurricane. Go.
Woo.
Hit it. Hit it.
Mock, yeah!
It's time to mock you like a hurricane.
That's our production value.
Strong.
Thank you.
What'd you guys do
what's your evaluation of our production value?
Strong. I'm just curious to know what you did with the rest of the budget.
Oh, you're sitting on it? I don't know.
Flew everybody out here.
Oh, yeah. Let me just look around. Okay, so you kind of went chalky.
Really?
Well, didn't you? Ward, Hunter,
a couple
Carter.
trades in there, Rich.
Will Campbell. No, off at the top. You went chalky, okay? Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, Genty, with nobody trading. Why do you go Kelvin Banks as the second tackle off the board to the Raiders? What'd you think about there?
So here's the logic on this one. Genty's off the board, so he's out. I came down to two players for them. I thought of Pete Carroll and the teams he won with and went to Super Bowls with. Dominant line of scrimmage teams. John Spytek, the general manager, think about Tristan Wirfs, the run game, how physical they were on the defensive side of the ball. Line of scrimmage guy coming from Tampa. So I've got line of scrimmage. Now we're going to go offense, defense. I went John Spytek's a Michigan man. Let's go Mason Graham. Then I go with Pete Carroll, and I think of Pete Carroll, Steve Sarkisian, very close, work together. I think of Kelvin Banks. So I came down to those two players, and I reached out to someone who's very close to both of those gentlemen, and I said, if these are the two options I'm giving you on the plate, who do you think they would select? And I got Kelvin Banks.
Now, when you put this all together, because you go the Jets going Membu, and then Mason Graham to Carolina, Michael Williams to the Saints, and Tyler Warren to the Bears, do you sit back and go, wow, I have Jalen Walker falling out of the top 10, and that doesn't give you pause, or you just...
Well, it gives me pause based off how I have him slotted, where I graded the player. This year more so than any other. Like, for instance, Banks I have in the 20s on my sequence list, the way I graded him.
Yes.
I have him going all the way up there with the 6th pick. Walker is one of my top, 7, 8 players, and I have him falling to 15. This draft has been described as fit more than anything else. So how do I use this player? How does he fit in what we do? Has become a huge part of this evaluation because all of them are so similarly graded. And when it comes to the offensive tackles going early, there's only 4 or 5 of them.
Yep.
So if you like some of these other positions, the thought is, well, if you need a tackle, you better take him early because you're not going to like what you're looking at on day 2.
Why Gray Zabel to the Niners?
So Gray Zabel to the Niners is a Niners trade back. I just keep coming back to, you're getting ready to pay Brock Purdy $50 million.
Yep.
Your offensive line is not in a good place right now. You just lost Banks in free agency. You got a big money deal to come here, right, to the Green Bay Packers. I don't know how much longer Trent Williams is going to play. You're going to have to start rebuilding this offensive line. And I thought, to me, he's one of the sure things with 5-position flexibility. At 11, that coffee might be a little bit rich, but I think there's a chance that they could try and position themselves. They need a lot of players as a trade-back team. But I have a two-trade maximum when it comes to a mock draft. My brain will go crazy if I do any more.
And we'll get to the drafts in a split second. But Tet McMillan to the Cowboys. Why do you have McMillan as the first wide receiver off the board and to Dallas?
Well, I think if you're chasing ceiling at the receiver position, I don't have him as my top receiver, but I do think if you say everything works out for all these receivers, he has the highest ceiling. And more than anything else, I thought he would be kind of the exciting pick. And I've been kind of railing on the Cowboys for being bad and boring. So let's try and root for them to do something exciting and interesting. And I thought McMillan would be the more interesting choice.
And then the exciting and interesting is the Broncos trading up from 20 with the Dolphins to take Colston Loveland and bring the Michigan tight end there. Why do you peg that one?
I just heard early on in the process that, obviously Sean Payton mentioned the thing about wanting a joker, a mismatch player, whether that's a back, a tight end. They go out and they paid Evan Ingram. And then I just kind of asked around, do you think Evan Ingram's contract or his presence would dissuade them from potentially getting someone like Loveland, who is a true mismatch player, as you know? And they said no. And then I think about Sean Payton's history and with the Saints. How many times have we seen them be bold and aggressive and make these moves up? I mean, you go to Marcus Davenport. They traded for Olave. I think that was a future one.
I remember they traded up for Davenport, and we thought it was
for Lamar.
Was it for Lamar? Yeah, it was for Lamar.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be for Lamar Jackson.
And it wasn't. Could you imagine, though, if it was?
Jeez.
Do you think Sean Payton would probably still be in New Orleans right now?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
And they wouldn't be 9th overall on the clock wondering if they should take Shador for an injured Derek Carr, you know, or Dart. So then you got Shamar Stewart going to the Colts and Jalen Walker falling to 15. Man, if the Falcons get him at 15, they'll be doing cartwheels.
I think if he starts to drift too, I just keep an eye on the Philadelphia Eagles in these scenarios. Consider the player, consider the school, and consider the Eagles having 20 picks, I believe, this year and next year.
Interesting.
Just go get them.
All right. Now, and speaking of go get them, you've got the Giants trading back into the first round to jump the line at 18 for Jaxson Dart. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I would put it this way, Rich. If we're going to go hot wings analogy, I would say with Jaxson Dart, very hot with the Giants. I would say medium with the Browns, and I would say pretty mild with the Saints. They just seem to be the team that's most connected to him. And you're looking at 21 as the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know that they would take Jaxson Dart, but if you love Jaxson Dart, you're not going to take that chance. You need to get in front of them. And then I look at John Schneider's history and how much he loves day 2 of the draft. And with where their needs align, you could put those day 2 picks to good use. That just seemed like a fair partner.
Yeah, that would be the fair partner there. And so, I mean, how do you we would be evaluating the Giants draft very highly tonight if they get Carter and Dart?
Well, here's a
what?
little bit of my theory here too. I want to maybe you can go around the room on this one,
Sure.
but I believe there's a difference between being the first person to speak at the press conference versus the second person to speak at the press conference. In other words, if you're the Giants and you introduce Abdul Carter, one of the universally believed to be 2 best players in the entire draft, impact position. He does his thing, and then, oh, by the way, we got a quarterback. Come up here, Jaxson, and we hope this works out. But it doesn't feel like you're pouring all your eggs into that basket, whereas Jaxson Dart's your first pick. You bypassed, some of these elite players. I think that's a different level of pressure that's placed on him, especially in that market.
All right, and then finishing up your mock draft, Shador to 21. You think the Steelers do take him?
Confidence level not high there.
Why?
I mean, to me, it's a coin flip. I just was trying to find, where that stop is. If it's not here, I don't know where it is. So I think 21 is going to be a huge pick to be keeping an eye on if you're following Shador Sanders and his journey.
Okay, and then, I mean, you want to talk about strange bedfellows. The Jim goes and takes an Ohio State Buckeye, Travion Henderson.
I do like to have a little fun in these, too.
So you have Henderson going second as the running back department.
I think the Rams really do like Amari Hampton, and I would not rule it out with them trying to move around the board a little bit.
Well, how does that work in the running back room? They took Corum last year, but obviously, and they've got Kyron.
Yeah. So Kyron Williams, this was when I first thought about this, and Kyron Williams rushed for, I believe, 1,399 yards, 14 touchdowns.
Oh, he was used, 2 years in a row.
Kyron Williams is getting ready to get to the point where he has to get paid.
Yes.
So there's that part of it. Here's the other part of it. As well as he ran the football last year, this is one of the best offensive lines in football that Les has built there. Last year, Kyron Williams had 1 run of 30-plus yards. Saquon Barkley, you include the playoffs, had 13.
Against the Rams?
Yeah, darn near, right? He did have more runs, 30-plus yard runs against the Rams, many more than Kyron had.
Right.
So the thought process is this is a team you got to go through. Kyron Williams is a good player, but I don't think they're going to want to pay him top market, and now you go out and get somebody who can hit some of those home runs behind this offensive line. They can kind of get back to the early Todd Gurley years with a guy like Omari and Hampton, and now it's a fair fight when you square off with the Eagles, who you got to go through to get to a Super Bowl.
And you have the Eagles taking Jahad Campbell. You think he lasts to 32 for the Eagles?
All I do is I just try and figure out a scenario where some unbelievable talent from Alabama or Georgia falls into the lap of the Philadelphia Eagles. Lo and behold, this is where I landed.
All right, and before I let you go, I'm going to look directly at our next guest when you say Maxwell Hairston for the Green Bay Packers. Is that what you're saying is from Matt LaFleur?
You're getting a reaction from Coach? I like that.
He's over your shoulder. Be careful as you evaluate him.
You know what I would say about Maxwell Hairston?
What would you say?
I would just say the guy's going to get coached so well that even if you had any reservations about him, I mean, he's going to exceed whatever those are.
What do you think? What do you think of the coaching in Green Bay?
Well, they're going to maximize their talent. Yeah, they're going to just maximize whatever they get.
Don't kiss up just because.
Oh, it's Coach back there. I see him back there.
Hey, all right.
Hey.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.